Ridiculous sum. Latin. I am ridiculous. Young Charles Bovary was pampered like a prince by his mother, and raised harshly, Spartan style, by his father. For instance, while his mother would feed him jam and candied fruits, his father carried his philosophical pretensions to the point of saying that his boy might as well go around naked. Thus, young Charles grew like an oak. When he was 12, his mother succeeded in arranging for him to begin his education. 6 months passed, and Charles was finally sent to the lycée in Rouen. Charles set to work and crammed for his examinations. He passed with a fairly good grade. So Charles went to the city of Tots to set up his new practice as a surgeon. After a while, he was asked to help Monsieur Rouault, who had hurt his leg. And this, my friends, is where everything started to go wrong for Charles Bovary. Oh, Charles, darling! Madame Bovary is a fascinating tale full of experimentations into the different values of realistic society. The frailty of the human condition, man's own inhumanity towards man, and the fact that France is the worst country on the face of the earth. Listen, my friends, to the maudlin tale of Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. Ridiculous sum. Latin. I am ridiculous. Charles Bovary was a nervous man around people he didn't know, so he approached the gates nervously. He was led in by a young woman who had beautiful eyes and a smile that could light up the room. He was then led to the bedside of Monsieur Rouault, explained his situation, and began to heal his leg. After Charles had mended Rouault's leg, he was led out by that same beautiful woman. She was Emma, the daughter of Monsieur Rouault. She was shy, but she was still forward enough with Charles to let him know that she was interested. So, after several more visits to the farm and the death of Charles's first wife, who wasn't important to the story in the slightest, the two were wed. Charles vowed solemnly that you will never want for anything, my love. I shall make sure that every need of yours is taken care of. Emma had grown up on Harlequin romance novels, so the idea of a handsome young doctor sweeping her off her feet was pretty exciting, to say the least. Oh, Charles, she said, I know that you will always take care of me. You will pamper me and love me, and I will never want for anything. I will never be bored. A few months passed. I am so bored. Charles never does a thing for me. And this, in fact, was a lie. Charles doted upon Emma more than she realized. It's just that she was never paying attention when he did. You look beautiful today, Emma. Do be quiet, Charles. I'm trying to watch Dancing with the Stars, and that Castro Neves fellow is just spicy. Emma eventually decided that she needed something to spice up her own life. She insisted that Charles take her to a ball. So Charles pulled some strings and was granted admittance into the royal ball. While he spent the evening playing poker with some of the fellas, Emma was being charmed. A handsome nobleman, a viscount of the highest breeding, had taken her in his arms and danced the night with her. He was tall, handsome, with the most dulcet voice in all the land. They spoke nary a word, save for one sentence. Hey, when they perfect human cloning, hey, I'm gonna order 12 of you. Emma was spellbound. She returned with Charles to their dull provincial life, all the time remembering what it was like to be treated like royalty for one evening. Time marched on, and eventually Emma brought some startling news to Charles. Charles, darling, she said, I do believe I'm pregnant. Being pregnant, Emma was prone to violent mood swings, and on a whim demanded that Charles and she move to a new neighborhood to get away from the bad neighborhood in which they presently lived. Hey, man, you come back on our turf, man, I cut you. Yeah, man, we gonna cut you off so bad that you gonna wish I know cut you off so bad. So they got away from the gang violence that eventually led to the creation of the film Gran Torino and settled into the quiet hamlet of Yonville, a peaceful town filled with pleasant folk. However, not all was sunshine and daisies in the world of Emma Bovary. Ridiculous sum. Latin. I am ridiculous. For even after having their first child, Bertha, she was still upset with her life. I am still upset with my life. So she sought comfort in the one place where she knew she could get it, in the arms of a big, strong hero. However, the strong hero she found was not her husband. His name was Rodolphe, a smooth-talking ladies' man with a heart as black as night. He came to Emma one day when he brought a servant to have his blood let by Charles. He instantly fell in love with her and said to himself, "Sis, Emma, she will be mine." So Rodolphe spent as much time as he could around Emma, constantly trying to woo her. He invited the good doctor and his lovely bride to an agriculture show, where he spent the evening slyly putting his witty Frenchman moves on her. Emma was torn. I am torn, for deep down inside, she still did love Charles. But he had so many problems. The way he always wanted to talk, and the way he always brought her gifts. But nothing compared to his ultimate downfall. The one thing about him that really got on her nerves, that one part of his anatomy. His back! Just the thought of its awkward, curvy nature brought her to the very brink of nausea. The sight of his back made men gnash their teeth in anger, and women lay dying in the streets, and babes cried out for their mother. So atrocious was his spine that if it were to appear before you right now, you would flee from this room in horror! At least that's what Emma thought. In our reality, he wasn't that bad looking. But women will be women, and human frailty gave way to sin. Ridiculous soon. Latin, I am ridiculous.